Mortgage debt is at a record all-time high. Now what? That's what we're going to cover in this monthly market report. This is for you if you are a real estate agent, a financial advisor, or an attorney interested in market data to help you advise a client, or perhaps you are that potential buyer or seller looking for some direction. I'm Paulo Rodriguez. I've been a mortgage professional since 2005, and here is the market data that you need to make an informed buying or selling decision or help your client do the same. It's a new year, and with that comes many questions about the housing market. With recent home price increases, some people are worried about a new housing bubble. And with mortgage debt reaching a record of over $13 trillion, which makes up 75% of all consumer debt, which is also at a record level, one might agree that the concern of a housing bubble is valid. But let's break down the data and dig a little deeper on that. Here is some data courtesy of the New York Fed, depicting how all this consumer debt breaks down. Like I said, mortgage debt, which is in yellow, makes up 75% of all consumer debt, which sits at a whopping $18 trillion. When people see how big a portion of the total debt is made up of mortgages, they start to get concerned. If you look at this line right here by itself, $13.1 trillion in mortgage debt, that could be a bit alarming. But here's what people miss. There's $35 trillion in equity in homes across the country. That's not home values, that's actual equity. And as you can see, the growth of equity has been outpacing the growth of mortgage debt since 2013. So the housing market, despite having risen tremendously, is in a very healthy state. The national debt might be out of control, consumer debt may be at a record high, but the housing market and associated mortgage debt are in a very healthy relationship. Case in point, here is a quote from the ICE Mortgage Monitor report, which said that equity growth has begun to moderate along with broader home prices in recent months, but that's still the largest volume of equity we've seen on record adjusting for seasonality. The average homeowner has $319,000 of equity in their home, of which $207,000 could be borrowed against while still maintaining a 20% equity cushion. So the strength of the homeowner in terms of equity is tremendous, and it provides a shield that prevents distressed sales, in other words, foreclosures and short sales. Distressed sales are a necessary component for any meaningful depreciation in the housing market. And we simply don't have many because of the amount of equity in homes. Here is a quote from the CEO at CJ Patrick Company. For a homeowner in the early stages of foreclosure, that equity is going to help them avoid a foreclosure sale either by leveraging the equity to pay down past due mortgage bills or by selling their property in order to protect the equity they'd otherwise lose at the auction. It makes sense. If you're falling behind on the mortgage, you have at least some equity in the house still. It's better to sell the property than give it back to the bank and keep nothing. This, along with good mortgage underwriting standards, is keeping foreclosure rates at all-time lows. And this is one of the reasons why the real estate market lacks the catalyst to create any meaningful price depreciation. And speaking of foreclosures at all-time lows, here's what that looks like. This data is also from the New York Fed. This is the percent of mortgages that are 90 plus days delinquent as of the third quarter of 2024. As you can see, they are currently below 1%. The peak you see there was 2010, right after the housing crash. And as mortgage underwriting standards tightened, surprise, surprise, mortgage delinquencies have come down. But the good news is that with a tremendous amount of equity, if someone were to go into foreclosure, they have the ability to put their home on the market, pay their closing costs and realtor commission, and still probably put a little bit of money in their pocket to get to the other side of the financial crisis that they are facing. The strength of the homeowner, due to the strength of a well-qualified borrower coming out of the financial crisis, is the major reason underpinning that strength. It was a gift, really. It may not have felt like a gift along the way. It was, in fact, painful for someone trying to get qualified for a mortgage, and of course, for the mortgage industry itself, it was painful. But we are now certainly reaping the benefits. A lot of people worried that coming out of COVID, after forbearance was no longer available and after the foreclosure moratorium expired, would be in a serious problem. But that certainly hasn't proven to be true because of all the things I have just talked about. If you are on the sidelines thinking you want to pick up a bunch of foreclosures, don't hold your breath. The housing market right now is no different to an individual that fell into health issues resulting from substance abuse 15 plus years ago, but that has since cleaned up their act by eating extremely healthy, getting good sleep, exercising regularly, doing all the things that a healthy individual would do to reach a state of peak health. Does that mean the individual will never catch a cold, get a fever, or heaven forbid, something more serious? Of course not. But they've done everything in their control for that not to happen, and that's exactly what the real estate market has done. Real quick, let's talk about mortgage rate projections for 2025. Here is what forecasters are projecting. Clearly not as low as what was thought several months ago. And if you want to understand the reasons for that, be sure to watch last month's video. But still, we are projected to have an improvement in rates as the year progresses, just not a remarkable improvement. And what's important to understand is that these rates are not sufficiently mitigating the lock-in effect, meaning these rates are not low enough to encourage people that are currently in a 3% rate to want to move. I believe the threshold that will undo the lock-in effect is when 30-year mortgage rates have a 5 in front of them. And until that happens, we are not going to get a lot more supply. The important takeaway there is that buyers on the sidelines have no reason to wait. If you wait, you're looking at rates that are a bit better than what's available now, but not much better. Not that waiting for a better rate is something that I have ever supported. And if we are not going to get a whole lot more supply this year, then it really makes the case that when you find a house that you like, swing the bat and seize the opportunity. That's a wrap for the January market report. I appreciate you listening in. Forward, subscribe, share. I'll be back next month. But before you go, if you're looking to purchase or refinance or know someone that is and would like a no-cost consultation with me personally, feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to analyze if your debt is structured in the most optimal way or if there's room for improvement. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.